Hello and welcome to Oboe Windfree. A couple of weeks ago, I was fortunate enough to catch Lally for a chat about the ICO's upcoming visit to the Clifden Arts Festival. When we recorded our interview, we were still not sure if restrictions would allow us to actually perform. But as you will no doubt know, things have improved and we will indeed be performing at the Clifden Festival on September the 17th at 8 o'clock. Des, hello, how are you today?
Matthew, good morning, how are you?
Not too bad at all, thank you. The very first thing I wanted to ask you was if you could tell me a little bit about the history of the Clifden Arts Festival. I know it started, I think, back in 1977, and it's become one of the most important festivals in Ireland. So I really wondered, what was the inspiration for the festival?
Well, Matthew, the festival was founded, as you say, in 1977 in Clifden Community School by Brother Killian Carney and the great Brendan Flynn, just to bring the arts, poetry, music, the visual arts to young people, to let them see live musicians in particular, the poets reading their poems. You know, the sound of the bow on a fiddle, the rosin on the bow, is so different in a live setting than it is listening to it on a record or on a CD or whatever, you know, hearing the voice of the poet. So that's what inspired Brendan and Brother Killian Carney to do that. And it gradually grew over the years. Poets, playwrights, great musicians have come here. And it kind of flowed out into the town where the community got involved. But the heartbeat has always been in the schools. And you know, there is a great musical tradition here, as you know, a musical tradition in the west of Ireland, and that has kind of blended in with the classical genres as well. And so, as I say, we're in our 44th year, so it's a long time. 44 years, and the festival has grown over the years. We've had, you know, a few challenges with COVID, but we were lucky enough to go ahead last year with 6 days of a festival. Normally we run for 10 days. And yes, it's become part, I suppose, of the artistic calendar, but also the social calendar of the area of Connemara, in that, it's like, at the beginning of a concert, that great kind of tension moment where the musicians are tuning up and you can hear the little, notes coming from them. And that's the way we feel at the moment, you know, that we're just tuning up. And then, you know, once the festival arrives, the full majesty of the arts just comes to Connemara, and we're so grateful to all the artists that do come.
I really love the idea that it's a kind of community festival and that it's very much part of the town and part of the schools and originally for children. But a question that I'm really interested in, is it the community that brings the arts, or do the arts bring the community together?
Well, I think it's a symbiotic relationship, Matthew, really and truly, because we're so lucky here in the west of Ireland to have musicians, artists, poets, writers of the highest calibre that in their own right have networks throughout the arts, both nationally and internationally. And, you know, we'd always get calls from people saying, gosh, I have a friend, he's a fiddle player from Slovakia. Would there be a space for him in the Clifden Festival? And we say, gosh, that's marvellous. Or we have a gospel choir from Virginia in America. You know, would you have a space for them? And that's really the way it works. But I mean, Brendan Flynn, who has been, you know, such a seminal part of the festival over the 44 years. I remember one time we were at a conference in Dublin, and somebody said the most valuable item in this room is Brendan Flynn's black book, because, you know, he can pick up the phone and ring people and they will come. And that it's an artistic camaraderie, really, you know. And then, of course, the community themselves are so welcoming to artists. And there's no site better, Matthew. I always remember, going to the Willie Clancy Summer School or Flat na Heron, or even a concert up at the National Concert Hall, seeing the musicians arriving at the venue, with their musicians in cases, and there's that anticipation. And likewise here in Clifden, when the community and when we see musicians arrive, and that great bustle of activity, seeing pianos being wheeled in, and that, it's a great sense of anticipation. And it also is important, Matthew, that venues like Clifden on the Wild Atlantic Way, and I must say the Arts Council have been very supportive of this over the years, that access to to the best of music, to the great classical pieces of music, to great orchestras like the Irish Chamber Orchestra, that communities that are not in urban areas like Limerick or Dublin or Cork or whatever, get that opportunity to hear an orchestra, and there's nothing like it, and that sense of anticipation we always feel is it's a marvelous thing to know that great sound is going to be coming into the community hall in Clifden or into St. Joseph Church or wherever,
It sounds absolutely magical. It really, really does. I guess it must have been an incredible feat of planning to put together a festival this year. So I wonder, could you tell me about some of the events that you have got lined up?
Well, we were, I suppose, fortunate in a way, Matthew, that in 2020 last year, we had a festival over 6 days. Now, we've worked many festivals over many years, but I think that would have been one of the most stressful, because we didn't know. There was a lot of organisation involved in the logistics of putting an event within all the COVID guidelines. But we went ahead, and we had the concerts. Of course, audience capacity was drastically reduced. 45 people in the audience. But still, Matthew, the reaction of people coming out from those concerts was just very moving. Very moving, and that's likely what is going to happen this year during the festival. So we have a mixture. It's an interdisciplinary festival. We have poetry readings. We have a celebration of Salmon Poetry's 40th anniversary. We have Sean O'Shea and the great Sean O'Shea and Padre O'Riada coming to mark the 50th anniversary of the passing of Sean O'Riada, so that would be a very important event. We have the great Martin O'Connor and Cathal Hayden and Jamie Dowd performing as well, and we have Professor Declan Kybert giving a lecture, Tommy Sands, the great musician from Northern Ireland, coming, and a mixture like that, and also local academics and local artists performing as well. Great Michael Gibbons, an archaeologist who really provokes thought at all his lectures, is giving an archaeological lecture. So it's a mixture like that. We run it on 4 different venues. We're lucky enough to have St. Joseph's Church, Christ Church, and the Station House Theatre and Clifden Town Hall, and that's where we run our concerts. We also, of course, over the years, for large events, we would have the Connemara Leisure Centre out near the Clifden Community School, which under normal circumstances we would have had large events, but unfortunately this year that won't be happening. But that's what we're going to do. We'll go ahead with our events. If the capacity is 45-50 people, that's what we'll do. But we think it's vitally important to keep that chain link of 44 years unbroken. And our programme will be going online next week. So tickets will be like gold dust. That's the heartbreak, Matthew, that we don't have so many tickets to sell, but we cooperate with our local Connemara Community Radio, and we broadcast events on the local radio as well.
Fantastic. So Des, can you tell me about the Irish Chamber Orchestra's concert for the festival? Where is it? What's going to be in it? What are you most looking forward to about it?
Well, the Irish Chamber Orchestra are old friends, first of all, Matthew. You know, I think it's 2 or 3 visits they've had here over the years. I remember one very memorable concert with Martin Hayes and Dennis Cahill. I think it was in 2013, and that was in St. Joseph's Church, Catholic church here in town. And just a marvellous event. And that's the venue for this year's concert as well. So it'll be in St. Joseph's Church. You know, we're hopeful, maybe if numbers increase, that we might be able to allow a few more people in. But as of now, it's we're down to the bare minimum, you know. But no, it's to hear the Irish Chamber Orchestra in St. Joseph's Church is just an uplifting, exhilarating, positive experience. And it will leave us, I know, Matthew, with a sense that, you know, things are going to get better. You know, that there is great energy and supportive spirit in the arts, and in particularly in the Irish Chamber Orchestra's magnificent dexterity of performance, you know, virtuosity. And in that atmosphere of St. Joseph's Church, with the acoustics, etc., it is magnificent, has been and will be in the future, Matthew.
Mm-hmm. Des, I'm really looking forward to coming along to Clifden and to meeting you properly. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Very welcome, Matthew.
Next week, Oboe Windfree is coming directly from Limerick with some live behind-the-scenes rehearsal film footage. See you then, and take good care.